Hello, this is Brother Benson Media, and today is a Sunday whereby we do our viewpoint. And as we always say, viewpoint, we are just looking at news that made the headlines, and we want to give our opinion. So before we go, let me go to my co-hosts. Hey, habari zenyu?
Tuko salama, tashukuru.
Mi good, habari ya wewe?
Niko salama. Tunapambana.
Hiyo mzuri, actually, Kenya is celebrating 60 years. We are almost celebrating 60 years. So maybe anything to say about Kenya at 60?
I think as a country, we've walked a long journey, and there's so many things that we've achieved as a country. Politically, there's so many we've achieved, but still, there's some leaders who are trying to drag us back. So that is the only challenge we're facing as a country, and also the rate of corruption. Corruption level is too high. This is a threat to us as a country, especially in this generation, in this after all these years. This is one thing that we would have cleared and would have walked away from.
Okay, that's good. Miguda, what do you say, Kenya at 60?
Kenya at 60 is very interesting because Kenya is now aging since we got independence from the Western colonies. And Kenya at 60 as a country, we have walked a long journey, a long political journey from the colonial masters, from one-party regime to multi-party democracy. Many people have been assassinated. Many people have lost their life, the struggle to have Kenya. And also we are proud because at least we have achieved Constitution of Kenya 2010, and we are now operating under the rule of law. We are independent, and we hope that as we go forward with the future generation of this country, we are going to achieve more in terms of developing laws, developing the country, and also bring reforms into the government. So I'm very happy as a Kenyan to celebrate Kenya 60, and we are still awaiting to celebrate more years as a nation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I too, there are a few incidences that I would say about Kenya at 60. I know there are so many times that as a country we've fallen, but there's a way in which we've risen up and proven that we, as Kenyan people, we are very special in a way, and we are also overcomers. And that is not something that we are not going to discuss today at 60, but we appreciate. We will go to our main discussion of today, the news that are trending or those that made headlines nationally. We have one that actually made it made the country to start wondering what is happening about the controller of budget, Budget Nyakang'o. And we know she has a case to answer, and it's very active case in the court, so we'll not go into the specific, but we will just give an overview of what we think. Maybe if I start with you, Mr. Miguda, what do you think about what happened to the controller of budget, Budget Nyakang'o?
Whatever happened to the controller of budget, Budget Nyakang'o, is contrary to the provisions of the laws of the land. You know, Nyakang'o is the controller of the budget, and in our constitution, chapter I think 15, we have commissions and two independent offices: the office of the Auditor General and the office of the controller of the budget. They are independent offices, and there's a reason and purpose why they were made to be independent. And independent, to me, it means that the officer in charge of the office in the public office should be have the security of tenure, And the drama that happened to Nyakang'o, it shows, it gives us a bad precedent going forward, because that office will no longer be respected. That office will no longer have any public authority, because the way the person has been handled with the DCI, or the investigative commissioner, from the director,
Mhm.
it's more of contrary, that whenever a public officer is with the government of the day, he or she is tend to be, whether he's corrupt or she's corrupt, there is no any action can be taken against her or him. But in case that you want to reveal some information, detail to the government, for the public, he tend to be hunted by the same government. So I'll just like to comment, not specifically on the political space, but of the constitution, because when you do such a thing to a public officer, it means that going forward, that office will no longer be independent, and the authority which has been given to it by the constitution will lose its meaning. So I don't support the drama going on the office of the control of budget, and we should also have a scenario whereby, if I'm corrupt, whether I'm in the government or whether I'm coming from the community, whichever community, also to have the good precedent going forward. So it is contrary to my submission that the independence of the office of the control of budget should remain independent as per the law, and also should observe the security of tenure. That's how I will comment on the issue of the Nyakang'o in terms of the constitutional and
Okay.
dependency of the offices.
Okay. We will look also the political aspect of it. Mr. Makubura, what is your take? Unmute.
If I try look into her whole story, biography, I think she was first nominated, was it 2019?
Yes.
And then she was voted in. She assumed office in 2020. Not wrong. She went through a very rigorous vetting, and for that reason, she successfully passed all the vettings. That clearly tells you that if suppose she had issues or cases that would make her or let her be hunted some days later, then that would not really make sense as per this stage. So this control of budget, she's been in public. Remember, in 20, that was last year or this year, when she was giving some clarity about how the previous government misused some amount of money that was from public resources. That money was meant to help the people of Kenya, but it was misused by the previous government. And when she gave this revelation, the current government really applauded her, and they said that she had really said the truth, and she confirmed that the previous government wasted the resources, and she got so many appraisal from the current government. It is so unfortunate again if just the other day when this committee that was put in place by the government, the ruling government and the opposition, to look into the issues that were really causing issues in the Republic of Kenya. It happened that Dr. Nyakang'o was also invited, and she gave some other revelation that this current government misused and misappropriated a lot of money. And after that, I remember there have been issues whereby the members of parliament of the ruling party have been trying to castigate her, and they've been trying to say that her revelations were not true. I think the whole problem that Dr. Nyakang'o is going through is because of her stand and her truth when it comes to revealing and giving the republic, of which that is her mandate, and that is what she is required of. Whenever she gives a revelation, depending on the side that is interested in the information, that the opposite side will always come out. And it's unfortunate that this time she gave information that was against the government, so to say.
Mm.
This really angered the government side, and they've been looking for her everywhere and trying to bring issues that we as a country, we are not really sure. We're just waiting for the investigators to give light to the whole thing.
Okay, because you know, when she came into the office or when she went through the vetting, I think she was cleared with all the state organs that are mandated to do so, including the DCI, KRA, anti-corruption, and you know, and I think like the DCI gave a even like certificate of good conduct, just like to show the parliament that she's worth to the task. But now again, the same DCI came and you know, uh, arrested her and charged her with all that. And if you look at even like the way she narrates on how she was treated, all the way from Nairobi, given a road tour or a road ride from Nairobi to Mombasa to go to the law courts over there. And I think that was not the best way to treat somebody of her class, because like she's holding constitutional office. I don't think if she was called to record a statement, she would refuse. So I don't know what I can say, but I also saw again she's also and another case is also mentioned against her about the sale of telecom, you know. So that is also there. So she has like 2 cases that she's facing right now. But we will see on how the events will unfold. But now let us look at the political concept or the political side of it, because when it happened, you saw how the leaders from where she comes from went immediately to the press and say how their community is targeted, including even those who at some point were not listening to his words, especially like Silvanus Osoro. I can remember there was a time Silvanus Osoro wanted out. There was a presser that they called. And now, since like now, this is something that was, I don't know where, because the community was so much angered with it, they came now, they were defending it. What kind of society are we trying to portray in our country when something like that happens before even the investigation or the investigators come up with a clear report concerning her or concerning any other person? We go to the media, we talk about our family being targeted. What do you think about that, Mr. Miguda?
Okay, to respond to your question, in the political perspective, you know, it's a culture in Kenya, and it's a culture which has grown for over a long time, of period of time. There are many precedents still in the political sphere that has developed to the culture of Nyakang'o being maybe the people or leaders from the Gusi community complain that our person is being targeted, even the people who uploaded her. You know, generally in Kenya, people use their ethnic community to thrive politically. Also, they use their tribes also maybe to be corrupt. And when there is any investigation going on, or if they are caught up in any of the things which are not related to the good governance, they tend to go back to their community to seek self-defense. You know, if you want to know that is a culture in Kenya, during the trial of the ICC, the Ocampo 6, initially Ruto said in parliament that let's not be vague, let's go to Hague. But when he found himself in the case of the Campo 6, there were issues like they are targeting Kalenjins and Kikuyus. And in 2013 elections, the way voting happened in Kenya, the Kikuyus and the Kalenjins voted block against the CORD team because they knew they are protecting their people from their community. Recently, when we went for Mandamano, after when we were demanding for the high cost of living and the opening of the server, when the inspector of police, Koome issued instruction to the police officers that, in fact, he outruled Article 37 that there is no Mandamano, and he ordered the police officer to shoot people who are demonstrating peacefully and unarmed. So by the time he was warned that he's going to be taken to ICC, that they are going to write charges against him because people have lost their lives and the situation property has happened. He went to the media again saying that the Meru community are being targeted. Who was targeting Meru community? So these are a culture whereby leaders tend to hide behind their ethnic community. So Osoro and the likes of him, so that this is another opportunity to see Gusii. Maybe they want to say that, okay, Gusii people are being targeted for the 2027 elections, so that they can, okay, Osoro, people of Gusii will say, okay, Osoro is fighting for the Gusii community, is having the Gusii community interests at heart, but at what point? When only is seeking sympathy. So this issue of people supporting that you are going back to your community because you have been caught in corruption is a culture in Kenya, and also people are doing it, and it's something which is going on. So as Kenyans, we should also be very clear that if you are corrupt, you are corrupt. You should be held accountable individually. Do not hang on your tribal cases or not tribal class because of corruption. By the time, for example, the people who participated in the post-election violence, that is the 2007-2008, they were planning within themselves. They did not involve the members of the community while they were planning those issues. So after the result, they're again saying, okay, our tribe is being targeted, the Kikuyus, the Kalenjin. Now, when Koome was issuing a statement to the police officers, it was very clear and it was recorded in the media. And when there was a threat that is going to be taken to Hague, it was like, hey, the very community are being targeted. So you see, this is a culture in Kenya and it should stop. And we should stop this culture as early as now.
I also think there's also this culture in Kenya whereby when you're in power, and then you are close associates, so people who support you, you will always defend them, whether they're corrupt or not. But anytime that your supporter or someone who is close to you, or someone tries to say the bad things that you're doing, we have realized that you will be the government or the people in power will very much look and try to bring cases that are not even relevant. And this we have always seen. It is a culture. If you look at the Uhuru government, that is the previous government, there are so many instances where the people who are close to him, as much as they knew they had cases, they were never looked or followed. But once they started having political differences, these people started following them and even trying to resurrect cases which happened so long time ago. So this culture again, it's still eroding the leadership. It's really going against the constitution of Kenya, whereby someone commits a crime, but since they are close to people in power, they'll not be followed or even asked to record statements. But once there's a fallout between these individuals with the people in power, then the people in power will send the DCI and all the relevant agencies to start resurrecting cases which were committed sometimes ago.
Yeah, and you know, if you look at even from, I don't know whether you are familiar with Golden Bag scandal that happened long time ago. I don't think until today that case has never been exhausted. The people who were involved are still working scot free, and that is the kind like that the willingness to prosecute these cases, and people go back to their community and they say they were targeted, and just mark you, some of them, the money they stole did not even benefit their community. They are just using them themselves with their family members. And another thing that I want to point out is, especially like if we have like the people who serve Kenya diligently, like let's say Nyakang'o, based on the revelations she said, even during the NADCO, how her salary, the annual salary, is 3 times what she's earning, and that is like the same with all the state officers, and what will happen to the same people of that caliber who want to serve their country truthfully? Because if they say the truth, maybe there will be so much the investigation. Actually, they will have investigation, or they will be arrested for cases that you never know when they committed them. What will happen for those who want to serve Kenya diligently?
I think nothing much will happen for those who want to serve Kenyans diligently. The same very thing they are doing to the likes of Nyakang'o will happen to the others. Why am I saying so? We have seen some cases in Kenya, for example, even the revelation of the Cherera 4, how the elections were bungled. There were intimidations, they were threatened to resign. So, my advice would be, if at all you are a patriot and uh, you have a mandate to serve your country, or you have been given that opportunity, you must be ready, because you must be ready. If you want to serve the people, a leader should be a servant. And if you are ready to serve the people, you in Kenya, you must know the history of Kenya very well. Or if you are joining politics in this country, you must be ready to be arrested if you are speaking the truth. You must be ready to be intimidated. You must be ready to go to exile, if so, or you can be killed. There are historical assassination in this country. But if you are afraid of arrest, intimidation, you just hide. Don't come to work for the people diligently. So I will advise people, if you are in those positions, just be independent and speak your mind, because it is good to lose that job or go to jail for the truth, or it is good to be intimidated for the truth, rather than being coward. If you know you are a coward and fear intimidation, because you must know a nation history. There are countries whereby if you go with their history, you will know what you want to do. So even if you're applying for those jobs, positions, go to parliament, for instance, and you want to be vocal, you must be ready for anything against the government. So that is my advice for those people who want to serve the government. But those people who are afraid, let them sit to other jobs.
Makobura, what do you
Yes.
say about Kenyans who wants to be truthful to their country?
Yeah, I remember one politician whom I really admire his politics, Alfred Keter. He once said that in Kenya, if you are someone who is truthful, if you are doing what is right, if you are standing with the people, if you are telling the government of the wrong things that they're doing, then they will come for you. They will use anything it takes, they will do anything it takes to get you out or to even finish you completely. And I think this is one thing that we've been seeing in this country. One thing I admire about this controller of budget, I would say she's a truthful person, and she's one person who is not a coward. Remember standing up and saying that the last government or the previous government wasted public resources, and she tried to give in the right information that she thought would help the country.
the country. Yes.
Again, this time she stood up, knowing very well that the president and his people will even come out for her. She then told the people the truth. And after saying the truth, these guys are looking for her. Again, one thing I've also noticed that in Kenya, when you're doing something that is right, anything can happen. Yesterday, I was watching this documentary of the late Musando, the IBC, the person who was in charge in the IBC ICT sector at the time.
ICT.
Yeah. And the day before he was murdered, he was on live television trying to give detail of how he had ensured that there was going to be electoral justice. The security in ICT department was so high. Then we ask ourselves, giving all the revelations that he gave, there's so many people who felt that that was not really maybe right for them, and that this guy was being too truthful. And that is why they followed him. So in Kenya, there's this culture where if you are saying the truth, if you are standing with the people, if you respect the constitution, then the people in power will use any means that they can or they have available in their tables to finish you completely. It is a culture that is eroding good values. It is a culture that is it's not giving us a good picture at all. Because if you look at the politics of even this current parliament, the leaders that we currently have, majority of them are not truthful people. They are cartels. These are people with so many issues, so many criminal cases. But they're the people who are ruling us. That means in Kenya, there's kind of a gang of people who are coming into leadership and they're trying to protect their interest and they're trying to use the same power to defend themselves. If you are from anywhere, you're coming that you want to be truthful, you're coming that you want to tell the people of Kenya the truth, then they will get you out of the circle. So
Okay.
anybody
And
who's getting into public office, they should be ready because the public offices are full of people with no humane.
okay. And hopefully, as we celebrate our 60 years, those are some of the things that even our leaders should look into, especially like constitutional offices that are very, very, very much independent, you know, because they should work not even like being interfered from executive, parliament, or judiciary, like the ones that the controller of budget is holding. So those are very independent officers. Yeah, so that does not need interference from any other quarter, or any other quarter should interfere with such like offices. But that's what Kenya is, and that is what our country is. So these are the things that we are fighting, or these are the things that the Kenyan people are fighting, so that those offices can be independent. And another thing that is also of a going concern for many Kenyans, especially, I think you saw bitter exchange between Honorable Kimani Chungwa and Honorable Millie Odhiambo concerning some of the amendment they made, the traffic amendment, whereby the Ichungwa, the government side was proposing some amount that actually, when you look it on the face value and the way the economy is, the Kenyans cannot pay, and Ichungwa was pushing for it, and there was a bitter exchange. And I can remember very well, Emily said, "Are you mad? Are you crazy?" All manner of things. And what can you say about that traffic amendment? And what are we going to achieve?
Oh, okay. So this is what really happened. The sober North, that is Millie Odhiambo, she noted that the majority leader moved a motion intending to take 500,000 from hustlers for removing or tearing a notice on a vehicle. It was contrary to the already passed bill, that is Section 1179 of the Traffic Act, provides that any person found committing such offense is charged a fine not exceeding 200 shillings. But according to Honorable Obiambo Mili, the motion would lift the fine from 200 Kenyan shillings to 200,000 and a fine of 500 to 500,000, contrary to Kenya Kwanza promises that they made to the people or the hustlers. So this is where the issue came. Millie Odhiambo is trying to defend the hustlers that the government promised that they would defend. It's so unfortunate. Imagine this thing has been 200 shillings. A fine has been 200 shillings. Even today, it's still 200. But then the majority leader is proposing, imagine from 200 Kenyan shillings to 200,000.
What criteria does he use to make it increase with such a, I don't know how, what that is 200 and something percentage, or what percentage is that?
That's almost, is it 2,000 or what? Not so good in mathematics. Like, and then the normal fine that when you're found you've teared this or you've removed it, it's always 500 shillings. But then this same government, if they're increasing it from 500 Kenyan shillings to 500,000, that's a 500,000. And then you ask yourself, why are they just doing, these people, it's like they live in mass, the same words that Millie was using, because these people go to mass and then when they come back to earth, whatever they think, whatever they've seen in mass, they try to actualize it here in our country. That's so unfortunate. Again, this same government, they're trying to do away with utamaduni. Utamaduni day is culture. Utamaduni, I think in English it's culture day. This same government, through Ichongwa, they're also trying to propose to change the utamaduni and make it, I don't know, climate day, so that people would be doing things to do it. Regulate, I think planting of trees or something like that. Utamaduni, our culture is one most very important thing. We are defined by our culture as a country. Our culture speaks a lot to the people, to the Africans, and to the whole world. That is one thing that should be nurtured by any government. A serious government must always ensure that a culture of its people is protected, because that is what really defines a country. That is what really defines us as Africans. If they try to scrap it out or remove it from remove it and then change it to climate, I don't know what day, is it really making sense? These people are going against the wishes of the Republic of Kenya. And for that reason, I really support Honorable Millie Odhiambo for standing up and speaking her mind without fear.
Yeah.
That is my take.
Yeah, that's Millie Odhiambo. That is Nyaro Nage. You know, if you know Nage, you know Nage. She's a no-nonsense lady. Hautamletea ujinga. Miguda, what is your take on the traffic offense and what is being proposed, the amendment? Does it really make sense?
Okay, to me, it doesn't make any sense because Millie Odhiambo being a member of parliament of Soba North constituency or being an opposition member of parliament does not limit her. Millie Odhiambo is an expert in the constitution and is also a lawyer. In fact, Millie Odhiambo is my friend. We have met several times and we are also going to meet coming weeks and coming days. I understand her very well. She's very intellect. So Milo Odhiambo was trying to enlighten Ishungwa, because laws. There's how you make law. You can't be just a legislature or a mover of the motion of the bill because you are made there with your party, but you don't understand the procedure. This how you can move the motion, the bill. This how you can make laws. Laws, if you want to make law, for example, Emilio Diambo was trying to enlighten Ichunga that you can't be in government as the Asla government. And in your manifesto, because we have the manifesto of the Asla, they are all over. We have the soft copy and the hard copy. So we know, we have read the manifesto. They were clear that they are going to protect the hustlers. So Milo Dambi is trying to enlighten Ichungwa. If you want to move a bill concerning traffic amendment bill, you cannot introduce a charge that is contrary to the provisions in your manifesto. The law, if you are bringing a bill in parliament, it must link your manifesto. They must be they must relate. You don't make laws like someone who is not educated. You don't just make laws like someone who did not went to school. There's a different. A legislature knows that there's a reason why we have a manifesto. We don't have manifesto for the sake of elections. We have manifesto that we can hold you accountable in the lawmaking process for your 5 years in office, or to say so. So Milo Diambo was trying to defend the constitution, also was trying to defend the lawmaking process in parliament, because you cannot come with any amendment which is contrary to the manifesto or contrary to whatever the policies. Your policies must relate with the law you are making. You can't be in the public purporting that you are helping us, or maybe you want to reduce the cost of living, but the laws you are bringing in parliament are contrary to the whatever you are saying. So Milo Diambo was right in defending the constitution. Number two, if you want to talk about the issue of the utamaduni, maybe the proposed amendment that they want to change the utamaduni day to climate day, I would like to say that constitution, they are joined into hips. The provisions of the constitution, they need each other. You can't do this one minus that one. And I see these people are amending this constitution, and they are using the parliamentary initiative through the moving of the bill. If you want to remove the cultural day to something like climate day, and in our constitution, the preamble provides the cultural, that we are diverse in terms of culture. Even
yes.
if you want to litigate some cases in court, the judge or the magistrate will have some question to you as an advocate concerning the cultural. There are cases you cannot push in court without cultural practices. So these people, I see them amending the constitution to an extent that, if there are some clause you can't do without them. So they are aware. And the person behind the whole game is a very constitutional intellect person. He knows that we can take time, but at the end of the day, we achieve our goal of amending the constitution. So I think we do not need to remove the culture in our constitution. And also, to finish my point, administrative in Kenya, the only source of law, of administrative law, is the constitution, because we have the sources of law in each and every law. Even the family law, we have the constitution, we have the acts, that's the marriage act. But now the administration, we have the administrative law, we have the constitution as the source of law. So anytime you touch the constitution, you are interfering in the administration of a country or of a nation.
But when you look at the government we have, you see, like, there are so many proposals that are coming in, and most of the proposal they make is only geared about money, and some of the money they tend to put are extra. I don't know, like, are the monies that, even like, if you look at the country itself, so many people cannot afford the money. The other time it was for the people who were transporting mirror. They were given until around 31st of December. If you don't do that, the fine is almost like around 100, half a million. What is the obsession with the money? Yeah, and the money that they put, the money that actually nobody can get this money, which means everybody's going to be in jail. Would you pay a fine of 500 or a half a million, or you go buy a plot somewhere? So which one is which?
The government that is currently ruling, led by His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Arap Ruto, this is a government that is really trying to milk the people and the Republic of Kenya without even getting to know the difficulties that the people of Kenya are going through. It is so unfortunate for a government that knows very well that the people of Kenya are hurting. This is a government that knows very well that Kenyans are jobless. This is a government that is increasing taxes and making even the investors to fly away to go outside the country. This is the same government that is trying to bring taxes and impose taxes on everything. Then it's also very unfortunate because this same government, with the high taxes that they are collecting, our CS, Dr. Njogona, is it Njogona Ondum, goes to parliament and then tells
the professor.
yes, and then tells the people that the government does not have money, that they might even fail to pay for the salaries of the civil servants. Then we ask ourselves, where is the money going? From a fine of 200, a fine of 200 not having from a fine of 200 for just